Hey Facebook, how are you today? I want to help you and know, why are you feeling a little icky about making the sales? Why? Because sales, if I ask my daughter and I say, what's a business? She's 3 years old. And I say, Ella, what's a business? She's going to probably say something like, a business is a place that helps people. And I'm going to say, okay, well, how do you know if you're helping people? And she's going to say, because you're doing something for them. And I'll say, well, what are they giving you? They're giving you money, right? Everything we do requires money. When I ask her, well, what does money require? You know, what would you do with that money? She's going to say, well, we're going to buy things. We're going to go out to eat. We're going to get new toys. And if we have a lot of money, we can help people and we can do bigger things. And the sky's the limit. I love asking kids questions like this. And if you have a little kid at home, ask them. Say, what's a business? What would you do with money? Why would you sell something? And see what they say. Because we're not preconceived to think that that's icky. We had someone tell us something, and that made us feel funny about selling a product or a service or whatever you're selling. And so all of a sudden you start to doubt your own skill set. If you guys don't know me, my name is Sarah Tugender. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm an entrepreneur, a mompreneur, I like to call myself. And I am committed to helping more people understand that they already have the skill set within them to make more sales, to live a more abundant life, to help more people. And I want to just show you how to do it a little bit faster, a little bit easier. Now, I have a 10-year corporate sales background. I have all those skill sets behind me. And when corporate America said goodbye to me, that was the best blessing in disguise I could have ever received, because I got to take a step back and to say, well, what is the brand that I want to build? What am I really good at? And I had spent the past 10 years working alongside my dad in healthcare, and I like to work in healthcare. I think that in 2017, the one thing that is going to continue to change is the scope of healthcare, and I don't think that anything is much harder than healthcare sales. So if I can teach you how to sell, whether it is in healthcare, whether you have a brick and mortar business, whether you're selling direct to consumer, I don't think it matters. But I just want to help you help more people so you can help yourself. I think charity starts at home, and then we can help the whole world, right? Very altruistic, but it's what I talk to my family about and the legacy that we want to lead. But let's get back to how you can increase your sales, and it's what you have within you. I think that there's 3 traits. And so the first one is something that you just can't teach, and that's hustle. And it's interesting because in 2017, we're really appreciating hustle, right? If you're an entrepreneur, I bet, unless you're living under a rock, you've heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, right? And Gary V always talks about the hustle. He has the hustle, and everyone wants to be just like him, right? Well, I don't personally, and I go back and forth with friends and family on this one. Gary V, I love him. I love him. I really do love him. Not one of my favorite people to follow, and I'm not all about the hustle all the time. So if you follow me long enough, you'll learn. I love to outsource. I love to maximize my time because I have lots of other priorities. I have family. I have a 3-year-old. I have a husband. I have things that I love to do. I got a little one on the way. And so, you know, the hustle for me, I find ways to do that. But when it comes down to it, when it's time for me to work, oh, you betcha I hustle. And I bet you do too. And I bet that's why you're on here. That's why you're watching a Facebook Live. That's why you're still tuned in past the first 20 seconds. It's because you have within you that hustle that we just can't teach. And that's a great trait of a salesperson, because you've got to be on the ball. You've got to have that hustle where you're striving for the next thing. You're using all the tools that you can use, whether it's social media, whether you're out networking. I mean, I have my calendar already. Tomorrow I'm going to a luncheon event. Tomorrow night I'm going to a business event. I have on Thursday, I'm meeting up with a colleague in the field to discuss some things. I already have a meeting scheduled on Friday. I have my weekend all planned out. And I bet you're the same way. I bet you have a lot of these kind of opportunities already on your calendar. And that's the hustle that I just can't teach. Just can't teach it to you. And I remember being in sales and being a sales manager, and there would be times, I worked in New York City in the restaurant advertising industry for a couple of years, and there would be times when I'd meet up downtown Manhattan with one of my new reps, and I'd say, okay, what's on the docket for today? And they're like, I don't know, we're going to go out. We thought we'd just like take a left and start cold calling. I'd say, oh, no. Come on, let me buy a double espresso, and we're going to sit here until we plan out what we're going to do. Because it's not just about going through the motions if we're not really targeted about it. And that's what I know that you're really good at, is you're not just hustling for hustling's sake, but you're going to be really targeted. I remember another time I was a recruiter, and I made 1,300 phone calls in 1 week to win a sales contest. It was outrageous. 1,300 phone calls. But you know why I made the most phone calls in the company that day or that week? Was because I wasn't caring if I was working with the quality prospects. I was just looking for the volume. And that's not really what the hustle's about. That's what I learned. Just because you do a lot of activity, it doesn't always mean it's the right activity. So we can talk more about this later, but I can't teach a hustle. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you have to be someone who's going to enable decisions, not convince, right? We hate that image of like the used car salesman. You show up on the lot and they're like, what can I get you? You know, our Hondas, we have a sale on the Honda Civic this week. Let me come show you a Honda Civic. And you're like, well, I came for a small SUV. I didn't come for a sedan. You know, that's the convincing. That's not the enabling. My husband and I we're looking for a new home as our family's expanding, as people do. And it's been a lot of fun to work with some of the sellers' agents. And the best ones are the ones who are definitely there to help enable us in our decision making. When they follow up with us, when they answer our questions timely, when we had a question in the walkthrough and then they get back to us with the answer, because they want to weed people out. I hate when I have people on a list. Every week I start with my possibilities list, and I want to get people off that list as soon as possible. That's how I know I'm truly making progress. And that's enabling people to make those decisions, not convincing them one way or another to make a decision. And it's been really interesting. I think some real estate agents, they have this scarcity mindset and they don't want to take me off that list. So they don't call to follow up. I don't get a follow-up phone call. I don't get a follow-up email. I don't get a follow-up anything. And I should be contacted, I would say, within 24 to 48 hours. So it's really interesting. You know, we talk about it and I'm like, how motivated are you as the agent to sell this house? Oh, extremely motivated. Yeah, this is a slow time of year. We want things turning over. I have big plans. I have a wedding to plan. You know, one of the agents we were working with, she has 2 daughters next year getting married. I was like, wow, you're probably more motivated than the seller. She was like, I am. Crickets. I've heard nothing from her. Unbelievable. Really crazy. The third thing, and I think this is so timely as we're having this conversation in January 2017, the third thing that I think makes a really great trait that's going to help you make more sales is that you already have a system for goal setting. I've been in sales management now for probably the past, it's been about 6 years that I've been in sales management. And one thing that I know about sales management is that it's so much easier to work with salespeople that already have their own system. And for this reason, I actually love working with people that have some sort of athletic background. I'll give you the example of my brother Nathan. My brother Nathan, he has his own business and company that he runs, the Warrior Athlete. And Nate, when you're watching this, if you want to do a plug and and put your website and information. I'd love that for people to follow you. And Nate played collegiate baseball. And Nate wakes up every single morning at 5 a.m. Nate's 25 years old. I don't know too many other 25-year-olds who voluntarily, he works for himself, he can set his own schedule, his own hours, but he voluntarily wakes up at 5 a.m. every single morning to go work out. That's when he likes to work out. And he's been like that. I mean, we'll talk about times when we used to go down the Cape as a family, and Nate would be up before the crack of dawn, and he'd be the one getting my dad out of bed. Dad, let's go for a run. Dad, let's go fishing. Dad, let's get out. Let's get going. Let's do things. Always. He always was up. My other two brothers, you kind of had to get them out of bed. Oh, the girls, forget it. Girls, we love to sleep. But my brother is up every single morning, and that's his goal system. And so he has a system. So if I teach Nate a new sales strategy, he's going to plug that into his own goal system that he already has. You just can't teach that. And so if you're someone who you didn't go to your New Year's Eve party until your goals were written, you're the type of person that I want to work with. You have that system that's already in place. You know how to strategize. You know how to figure it out. You know how to put the puzzle pieces together to make it work. If I have to teach you how to be successful in something, then how are you going to be successful in anything? And I like, as a mom, something I've learned is to be very well-rounded. So to have, what I want for my business, what I want for my family, what I want for my relationship, what I want for my health, what I want for spirituality or mental health, what I want as legacy for my family. I have community goals. I have goals for my daughter. I have goals for my husband. I have goals for our date nights. I have goals for everything. And so I'm the type of person, like, you give me a new task and I'm just going to plug it into the system that I already have working for me. And nothing's really going to get, it might get imbalanced when I introduce something new until I can put that whole picture back together. And so if you're someone who you've achieved something, I love working, like I said, with athletes, because I feel like when you perform at that level, you can do just about anything. I love working with high performance scholars, people who, you're talking to my brother who's in his college search right now. When schools look at him and they say, Jake, you got really high SAT scores, and they know he can perform at that level, they know that then his output on the ice as a hockey player, he's going to perform really high. Because if you can perform high in one area, you can do it in a multitude of areas because you have that goal system in place. I know you have this. I know you're a hustler. I know you're an enabler. You're not a convincer. And I know you have a great goal system already in place. And that's why you're on a call like this. That's why, you're listening to this little bit of personal development. Because you're just looking for, what's that little tweak? What's something that's missing? And sometimes it's just that slight edge, right? It's that little bit. I remember as a swimmer, it was just that angle that I dove off the diving block that would shave off a second or two from my time and make me the faster swimmer to win the races. It's something so, so small. With my brother playing hockey, sometimes it's just that, not waiting that extra half second before he takes that slap shot. It's just going right for it. It's so slight. And I know that you have those things. And so I have a guide for you. And so if you head over to sarah.tugender.com and you click on the training tab, I have the 7 words to score the appointment every time. And this is something I've been teaching for years. It's worked across industries, across the board. It's a really great tool. So I'd love to share that with you. So you can head over to sarah.tugender.com and go ahead and go to training tab. You'll just plug in your email address and I'll email that right over to you. And if you love more of this, make sure to share. Tag a friend. Tag an accountability partner. Because I bet if you have strong goals, you also have an accountability partner. Who needs to hear this? Who needs to hear that they already have these sales traits inside of them? I'm Sarah Tugender. I'm sarah.tugender.com. I want you to just make this your most bountiful year ever. So continue to follow me, like my Facebook page at Sarah Tugender, and I will see you guys on the next broadcast.